G'day everyone and welcome to this week's Global Update, this is this week in the economy. As you can see, we're continuing on, not much is changing. We've got a weird situation happening out here at the moment where there's definitely a two-speed in the economy now. We're seeing those that are having pressures with interest rates rise. They're being affected, but those people that don't have interest rates, don't have mortgages or interest rates to worry about, they're definitely still got money to spend. So this is causing a two-speed in the economy. Unemployment's still low, which is causing shortages in the workforce because we can't get enough workers to go through. But the economy overall is doing okay, which is weird because of what you hear on the media and that sort of stuff. Is it's all doom and gloom, but there's actually some good stuff coming through. A lot of the stuff that's happening in the economy at the moment is purely and simply out there by the media and by the government and all that sort of stuff to create fear and division and basically crash the economy. I dare say the government wants the economy to crash. What I can say for everyone out there is now's the time to be reevaluating everything. Now's the time to be really looking through what you're doing in the economy, whether, maybe it's time to change job, maybe it's time to buy that business you've been looking for. Maybe it's time to restructure the current business you've got, restructure your portfolio or whatever you're doing. Very much now is the time to do so. And where the economy's like this, it allows you the time to do it. The one thing that we do have is a bit of time. There is time to put plans into place and make sure that you're moving forward. So that leads me into some top 5 tips for making sure you're preserving your wealth. And this is the time to make sure that you are looking at your wealth preservation and you are looking at what you are doing in the market and what you're doing to create wealth and preserve current wealth. Tip number 1, make sure you've got a bit of a diversified portfolio. Now, when we're saying diversified, I'm not talking about having 20 different stocks. We teach here at the Global Wealth Club something called the Diversified Portfolio, and that is actually having 5 uncorrelated buckets where you spread your wealth through, and then these buckets do very well in turbulent times in the economy so that you get a nice steady growth to your underlying wealth. Tip number 2, review and rebalance. As I just said, this is the time to review and rebalance your portfolio. You might be overweight in one part of the sector, you might be underweight in another, you might not have exposure to a certain part, you might not have exposure, for instance, to long-term bonds, you might not have exposure to precious metals, you might not have exposure to your own business or an investment that is correlated to business ownership. So these are the times to have a look at what your portfolio is, how it is, and how to rebalance that. You might just have single-family homes and not have commercial property, for instance. So now is a good time to review and rebalance the portfolio you have. Tip number 3 is focus on the long term. Forget the short-term ups and downs and what we've got at the moment. If you have a look at interest rates, they are predominantly returning to where they traditionally are. We've had unexpected low interest rates for so long, for such a period now that people have forgot that the longer term trend is always higher interest rates in that 6 to 7% range. So make sure that you're always focusing on a longer term. If you take a graph of any investment, it doesn't go straight up or go straight sideways. It does this. It goes up and down. So make sure that you're focusing on a longer term time frame that you can then see and curve it out and ride some of the short term very volatile waves. Tip number 4, use tax efficient strategies. Always make sure that you're using and taking advantage of the law as it comes to tax. There is so many different efficiency gains that can be had to minimise any tax on any investment that are put there by the government. The government wants people to invest. The government wants people to put their money back into the system. So take advantage of the tax loopholes that come from investing wisely. And the lastly but not used is use asset protection. Make sure whatever you're doing and whatever outcome that you desire, asset protection is part of it. And you don't want to get into the situation where you're paying unnecessary taxes or forfeitures to the government on death, on transfer to spouses or transfer to kids. Make sure that your assets are protected. Make sure that your assets are protected from frivolous lawsuits. We will see more and more lawsuits happen against individuals, especially individuals who are in professional services fields, because you have a target on your back naturally, because you are normally insured and normally have the insurance to allow you to do things. So having that protection for your assets is vital. So there you are, everyone. Thank you for this week. That's a nice little update for you. But don't get too stressed out with what's happening in the economy on the short scale. Have a look at it, step back a bit from it, have a look at it on the longer term scale. We have some headwinds, we have some hurdles, but there is some also good silver linings. Small communities are actually getting together and creating their own solutions to some of these shortfalls. Thank you again, and look forward to seeing you and talking to you next week. Thank you. Bye.